Alright, I'm doing another recording from home, so I do have a Mac at home, so I know things might look a little bit different here. I'm also a fairly new Mac user, so bear with me. But I wanted to talk about the PCS links. So we looked at the links for ICD-10-CM. I wanted to do the same kind of introduction for ICD-10 PCS, just so you know what's posted on Blackboard and what you need to access. So these are all under course documents, and then the folder labeled ICD-10 PCS. And I went ahead and opened all of these just so you didn't have to wait for my computer. So the development of ICD-10 PCS is just a PDF document. This is really just for reading purposes, just so you have a better understanding of how they developed it. The 2012 ICD-10 PCS reference manual, I couldn't find the 2013, so I do realize that the guidelines are a little bit older, but I find the reference manual very helpful. So if you just click on a link, it will pull it up in whatever browser you're in. I find it easier to view in whatever PDF viewer that you have. And I have two of these open, excuse me, because you can pull up a table of contents on the side, and this is a fairly large document, so I just find it a lot easier to navigate. So if you're able to do that, you can see that it gives you an overview. So this is great reading just to kind of get an introduction to the system. Then it goes through each of the sections. So first, procedures in the medical and surgical section, which is what we'll be talking about this week. So you can read through there. It will go through your root operations. It talks about each character, you know, what character 2 means, character 3 means, etc. That's really helpful for this week. And then next week we'll look at procedures in the medical and surgical related sections and the ancillary sections. So for this week I would recommend that you read the overview and this first med-surg section, and then next week you can read through these too. This also has some appendices. It has definitions. It has the coding guidelines. Again, these are the 2012 guidelines. The ones I have posted on Blackboard are the 2013. And then it has some additional information about device classification and substances. So really great reference, especially if you're going to be doing more with PCS beyond this class, or if you're trying to train some others at work. I have repeatedly used this from the very beginning when I first learned PCS. I find this the most comprehensive document anytime I have questions, so highly recommend that one, just to keep that link around. And all of these documents I got on the CMS website. So the PCS official guidelines, again, I've already pulled that off, PDF document. Again, these are the brand new 2013. So the ones you'll find in that reference manual are 2012. These are the brand new ones. Honestly, I don't think that they've made too many changes. This will send you to the CMS website. So in CM, I went ahead and just posted the links to the different indices. PCS, it was just too big of a file, and I didn't want you guys to have to deal with that. It'll be a lot faster for you guys to load if you just use this method. So if you click on this, it'll actually is just a link to the CMS website, again, where this is where I've gotten all the documents that I've posted in terms of reference documents. Here you can see, here's the guidelines that I put up, here's the reference manual. So if we're done with the class and you don't have access to the Blackboard site, you can get everything here right on the CMS site. I just put links to it on Blackboard to make it a little bit easier so you didn't get confused as to which document I was referencing. The one that you'll want to click on for, so this is what you'll actually be using to code. This gives you your index and your tabular of tables. So it's this 2013 code tables and index. So if you click on that, it'll download a zip folder. Should look something like this. So you'll see a few different documents in there. The one we'll be using is this PCS 2013. So what I would recommend is this first time that you do this, load the zip drive, open this document, and I have this open in preview already. Pull that up for you. Whoops. If I can get back there. Here we go. And then I would just save this. So in whatever PDF viewer you're looking at, you should be able to go File and then Save a Version, or something close to that, so that you can just save it to your desktop or some sort of folder where you can reference it later, so you don't always have to go back to the CMS website. So here is essentially our code book. So if you had a physical code book in front of you, this is the document. So you can see it's 1,500 pages, pretty big document, which is why I didn't want to just post it on Blackboard. It'll be a lot faster for you to load the zip file instead. So here, we've seen a kind of a similar format with CM. We have our hyperlinks in here. I will tell you, PCS is a lot better in terms of hyperlinks, at least for the index, than I thought CM was. You don't have to do nearly as much scrolling. So here you can see our different sections. We have medical surgical is the main section. Then we have our medical surgical related, which is obstetrics all the way down to chiropractic. And then we have our ancillary sections, imaging down to substance abuse treatment. It also, again, gives you those definitions. There's a body part key, device key, and an aggregation table. So for this class, we're really not going to use these just because we're doing a brief introduction. If you were going to get more advanced, then these are incredibly helpful. And then here's our index. So a little bit different than CM, we don't have a separate index and a separate tabular. Everything's in one document, which I think is nice. It's a lot quicker and easier to navigate. So we'll go ahead. I just want to go through a quick walkthrough. I'm going to click on the index and we'll do my favorite. We're going to do an appendectomy, and we'll just say it's a laparoscopic appendectomy where we went in with the scope and took out the whole appendix. So when I click on index, then I get my different letters here. So we're looking for appendectomy. So I'm going to click on A. And then here again, similar format. You can see I'm in the letter A. My main term is bolded. And then I get some subterms underneath. You'll see a ton of cross-references in here. The reason for that is PCS, again, is created around those root operations. So that is always how you're going to find your code. Now, I'll tell you right now, appendectomy is not a root operation. Again, root operation, we're looking at what was really the main purpose of that procedure. But they've really expanded the index. I can say from when I started coding PCS in 2009, they've really expanded the index, which is great, to help cross-reference you to those root operations. So even though when I say appendectomy, I know that's not a root operation, I can still use that as a main term. So I'm going to scroll down until I get to appendectomy. And again, the index is not nearly as large as it is in CM, so not nearly as difficult to get to. So I'm here on page 1268, and we can see appendectomy right here. And like I said, so notice I don't get any sort of code because appendectomy is not a root operation. That's not going to get me a code by itself. But the index is telling me, hey, why don't you consider excision or resection? So if you have your definitions in front of you, excision is removing part of an organ or body part, and resection is removing the whole thing. So when we talk about an appendectomy, typically they're going to take out the whole thing. So we're going to go resection to appendix. And notice here I get my first 4 characters. So I'm going to click on that. So those are hyperlinked. They're going to send us back to the table. So the table is kind of like tabular was for CM, although we're not going to get a nicely written out code description. We're going to build that code. So again, the tables are the first 3 characters. So I get the 0 in the medical surgical section. I have the D in the second character slot for the GI system. And then the T indicates that resection, which was the root operation. And then our index also gave us the J for appendix. So I'm in this row. Next, I need to add the approach. So we're doing a laparoscopic appendectomy. So laparoscopic is considered percutaneous endoscopic. So I have a 4. There's no device and there's no qualifier. So here I end up with 0 DT J 4 ZZ for my code. All right, and then I just had one more link on here. These definitions are the same as those that appear in the tables and index and also in the reference manual. I just put them in kind of a more condensed version of just the main ones I thought at an introductory level you should know, and they're nicely printable. I made these to be able to be printed. So PCS definitions, for medical surgical, I put the root operations. So you can see here I have alteration, the character is 0, and then the definition over here. I also have the definition of the approaches, so like the laparoscopic we did percutaneous endoscopic, so we had entry by puncture or minor incision of instrumentation through the skin to reach and visualize the site of the procedure, which is exactly what we're doing in a laparoscopy. And that's character 4. The med-surg related sections, which we'll look at next week, again, I have the root operations listed for each section, and then the ancillary sections, I have the root types listed. So again, it's just kind of an abbreviated list of those definitions and in an easily printable format. So if you wanted a quick reference, especially for doing like your coding practice, I would recommend printing this off. All right, so that's all of our links. So again, just to kind of show you basically this one you're just reading. The reference manual is just a great thing to have. This would be another one I would recommend saving to your desktop or to a folder. Your guidelines, this is what the majority of the quizzes will be referencing, are the official guidelines, and then just kind of the general info out of the reference manual. And then the practice will be actually coding from these tables in the index.